The Manhattan District Attorney, Alvin Bragg, we continue discussing this genre of subjects, and I want to talk about his response to House Republicans wanting to investigate him. Of course, this is in relation to the Stormy Daniels hush money payment case and the news we are following that Trump is likely to be indicted soon, and Trump predicted he was going to be indicted last Tuesday, and that indeed did not happen. And so whenever Trump put that out and the news was kind of big that Trump could be indicted very soon, Republicans within the House of Representatives, Jim Jordan specifically, started making plans to get involved in some way and to call members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to testify in front of Congress. And Jordan sent a letter to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and Alvin Bragg now, at least his office, has responded. Take a look at this from Axios. Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office on Thursday rebuffed a request from top House Republicans for testimony and documents about his investigation into former President Trump. Bragg's response leaves Republicans with little room to maneuver in their effort to dent the probe's credibility, forcing them to decide whether to venture into the uncharted territory of subpoenaing a local prosecutor. In a letter to Judiciary Committee Chair Jim Jordan, Oversight Chair James Comer, and House Administration Chair Brian Stell, Bragg's General Counsel Leslie Dubeck said that the GOP request is, quote, an unprecedented inquiry into a pending local prosecution. The House GOP's request to Bragg only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested the next day, and his lawyers reportedly urged you to intervene. She wrote, neither fact is a legitimate basis for congressional inquiry. And Dubeck, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, the response noted 4 big points for why testimony from members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office would be absolutely an incorrect action to be forced upon them, we'll say. Number 1, the letter seeks non-public information about a pending criminal investigation, which is confidential under state law. 2, the requests are an unlawful incursion into New York's sovereignty under the 10th Amendment, which is understood to prevent congressional inquiries into matters delegated to the states. 3, Congress is not the appropriate branch to review a pending criminal case. Instead, Dubeck wrote, the courts are the proper forum for a challenge. And 4, requests for information about the use of federal funding are an insufficient basis to justify these unconstitutional requests. So just slapping down, boom, the political stunt nonsense from House Republicans. And as we were talking about in the last segment, it is so often that when it becomes politically advantageous, Republicans throw their principles out the window. They take them and throw them in the garbage can. And this is another example of that, right? Because so often they say the federal government needs to stay out of state affairs. The federal government needs to leave states to govern themselves and states' rights. And Democrats are always trying to expand the federal government and get involved in places they shouldn't be. But then when it comes to Trump possibly being indicted, a state matter, they're ready. They want to get involved. They want to overstep in that way. And the Manhattan District Attorney's Office very nicely outlined why that would be absurd. And so did Lawrence O'Donnell here.
New York City had courtrooms 135 years before Ohio did. And today, it showed. An Ohioan who is a graduate of Capital University Law School but has never passed the bar exam, so is not a lawyer, Congressman Jim Jordan, got a reply to his letter from Harvard Law School graduate Alvin Bragg, the District Attorney of Manhattan. Alvin Bragg's reply letter to Jim Jordan is the single most humiliating letter ever received by a chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, every one of whom has known much more about the law than Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan and other House Republican chairmen had written a letter to Alvin Bragg asking him to testify to their committees about his investigation of Donald Trump. I suggested on this program that Alvin Bragg could simply rip up that letter the way Nancy Pelosi ripped up Donald Trump's State of the Union address and ignore it. But of course, I also noted at the time that Alvin Bragg would probably reply in a fully professional manner, which he has now done. Alvin Bragg's 5-page.
And then he outlines what I just did. But I love the quote, the single most humiliating letter ever received. Yes, very nice. And it is good to see Alvin Bragg correctly, accurately, but also very clearly pushing back against the absurd notion that he's this political operative trying to take down Trump because he hates him, and instead is doing what he's supposed to do. He's doing what his job is there to do, investigating possible violations of the crime, and if there's evidence, charging an individual with those crimes. Let me know what you think of all of this, Luke P. Beasley on Twitter. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to be a part of what makes this show possible, plus get access to the full video version of the show hours before all the clips are uploaded to YouTube, plus get the extra bonus show on Saturdays, you can do so by going to lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. That's lukebeasleyshow.com/membership. Link in the description.